Many times when we did this, as we started, patients would begin crying and protesting. But once we had begun dilating the cervix and passing instruments into the uterus, it was too late to stop.
I was handing hush money to women who we had left pieces of their baby. We had put these women's lives in jeopardy. We had put their lives at risk, and we were literally giving them a check for $800. And for a poor woman, $800 is a lot of money.
I mean, there have been so many moments in the last decade plus of going undercover in abortion clinics myself and seeing just heartbreaking things. Women vomiting in the hallway of an abortion clinic, crying out in pain. The late-term abortionists talking casually about how they would literally leave a born-alive baby to die. Or if you deliver the baby in the toilet, then you pick it up and stuff it in a plastic bag and bring it to us.
Babies are being born alive, and the backs of their necks are being slit. They are being drowned. Their necks are being snapped. It's happening more often than people want to think about. These abortion facilities, these abortion providers, these doctors, they don't care about these women.
And you're realizing you're watching in front of your own eyes play out America's greatest horror story, which is how we butcher children in the name of choice.
Hi guys, welcome to Mika Reacts and Reviews, where we react and review to things on the internet. Okay, so this is another Daily Wire documentary. It's not one I think they really promoted that much because I didn't hear so much about it until recently. I think if you are a member and you just have the base membership without watching the videos and movies and stuff like that, this particular documentary is free if you have the basic membership, okay? Because there's multiple tiers. The first tier you don't get the movies and stuff. I guess you just get the news and the blogs, and then the second tier you get access to the movies. So if you're at the first tier, you get this one for free. Look, I know like Daily Wire's documentaries, of course they're gonna be slanted and dramatized and linked and bent certain ways to get their point across. That's all documentaries do. That doesn't mean it's not based on facts and truths and stuff like this. And one of the things that a lot of pro-choicers ignore and even silence the women who try to tell their stories are the women who have been traumatized by the abortions that they've gotten. Traumatized mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. Some women who have been physically damaged where they can't have kids any longer. They like to talk about all the dangers when it comes to pregnancy, but they never talk about the dangers, the medical dangers when it comes to actually getting an abortion. Not all abortion, just because it's done in a hospital or clinic, is going to be done safely. I had a friend, now that I think about it, this was middle school. There was a girl in my middle school class, I think it was 6th grade, and she was pregnant. And she got an abortion. I remember she was in my orchestra class, and we were like in the instrument room just picking out our violins. Yes, I play the violin. And she just casually said, "I always hear my baby crying." And she was like, "Yeah, I was pregnant and my parents made me get an abortion and I can't stop hearing my baby cry." And she says like, "Yeah, it's in my nightmares and I can just hear the baby crying and stuff like that." And they don't talk about those women. And again, when those women do speak out, even if they, like right now, if they made a YouTube channel or something like that, YouTube would just shadow ban it. YouTube would just push it down in the algorithms and stuff like that. And so it gives the illusion that this doesn't happen, that people don't regret it, that people don't change their mind, that people aren't sorrowful or mourn their kids, because for the rest of your life, and I'm not about shame, but it's for the rest of your life, you're going to have to think, wow, if I didn't get an abortion, my kid would be 12 or my kid would be 10 years old. I wonder if it would be a girl or a boy. I wonder what it would look like and what their personality would be like. I had an ex-boyfriend, and he was Italian, and he was old school Italian, macho, didn't show his emotions whatsoever, which is one of the reasons why he broke up. But he had an ex-girlfriend that he was ready to marry. Like, this wasn't a fling. This was someone that he was ready to marry and be engaged to, was in love with. And he had to come to America, and he was going to come to America, and he was going to set up the life for them, and then he was going to fly her down. But while he was gone, she caught him and said she was pregnant. And all he's ever wanted was kids in the family. That's how he grew up. He grew up in a very traditional Italian family. And he was like amazed, like he was happy, like yay, like finally I get to be a dad. But she was an exotic dancer, and I have nothing against exotic dancer, I'm just telling the story. And she didn't want to mess up her body. She was like, no, I don't want to mess up my body. I'm still young. I'm still making good money. I'm going to just get an abortion. I was just letting you know. And he begged her. He begged her, begged her, begged her. Like, to the point where he was like, okay, you don't even have to be the mom. Like, just give me the 100% parental rights. You know, I'll take care of everything. I'll pay for everything. I'll get you a nice condo while you're pregnant. I'll fly you down. You can get your own place. I'll buy you whatever you want. I'll pay for everything. I'll give you a fat check. Just let me have the kid. I will raise the baby. I will be the dad. And she had the abortion anyway. And I don't even want to say it was on Valentine, because that's just really cruel, but I think she had the abortion on Valentine, or at least really close to Valentine. And every year on that day, he would just get super depressed, and he would break down and cry, and he would say, I can't help think about how old my kid would be if it wasn't aborted. And this is the other lie, that men just don't care. That men prefer it, actually. You know what I mean? And yeah, there are some men who was like, look, I just want to be able to bust a nut in any girl I want and not have any responsibilities. But there are men who do care, and it really does fuck with them mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. And they're not even allowed to talk about it because they have penises. Even though all of a sudden we figured out what a woman is, because I thought anybody can be a woman, so anybody of any sex should be able to talk about it. I believe everybody should be able to talk about it. I'm just talking about the progressive ideology. So that's the other side they don't talk about. The other side they don't talk about is the late-term abortions. They say, like, okay, that's rare, but how rare is it? Like, what it really is the numbers? Maybe I'll Google it and put it on a screen, but they act like it's so rare that it's only 1 or 2 kids a year, which would still be too much, but rare can still be hundreds. Rare can still be hundreds and thousands. It might still be, compared to the 66 million abortions, rare might still be 1 million. And you know what I mean? And so you're talking about partial birth abortion is partially birthing a baby. So now you're saying that the value of the child doesn't matter unless the entire body comes out of the birth canal. That child feels. It feels pain. And you're crushing its skull, breaking its neck, or sucking the brains out of its skull, or telling mothers to put them in a plastic bag so now it's suffocating. I couldn't imagine what's going on through that child's mind. We're already terrified. And the one person that's supposed to fucking protect you and love you is killing you, or having someone else kill you in a cold, sterile slab table with no love and no affection. What the fuck kind of life is that? You get to live for half a second, you get to take a beat of a breath, and then you're just dead because no one loved you and you weren't valued. That is just sick. That is sick for anyone to believe that that is the right thing to do. And when it comes to the mother health, because what I heard a lot of times when the mother's health is at risk, that is usually found out in the later terms of the pregnancy, meaning a lot of times that baby could be saved if they just had a C-section. It would be a preemie baby, and maybe it wouldn't make it, but it would have a better chance. It would have a chance. But a lot of times these partial birth abortions that are done because of the mother's health are unnecessary. This is sad, and it's really hard for me to watch these things, but my mom always told me that everyone is allowed a voice, not just the ones who are the loudest and the craziest, not just the ideas and the values that are the most popular or the most trendy or the most socially accepted. Everybody should have a voice to say how they feel, and that's why I speak out, because I don't care if it's not popular, and I don't care if people are sick of me talking about it. Like, it needs to be said, okay? So we reacted to the trailer. I'm gonna also react to, there's a clip from the documentary, and then we'll end it here.
I think so often if we haven't been affected by something, it's something that we don't think about. But what I've realized as I learned that I survived an abortion is that there is a face and a name and a story for the unborn child. I had the opportunity to meet my birth mother. I got to thank her and see who I looked like. And in the midst of that, I gave her a gift, and she opened a card that I gave her with a gift, and it said, "Thank you for choosing life for me." And I'll never forget that moment as my birth mother broke down into tears and said, "I didn't. Claire, I was 13 when I was pregnant with you. I was alone. My mother told me that the best thing for me was to have an abortion, and so I did. I had a D&E dismemberment abortion, and a few weeks later I went back to the doctor, and the doctor said that I had been pregnant with twins, and that one had been aborted, but that you had survived my abortion." And gosh, I never imagined that I would sit face to face with my birth mother and find out that not only had I been the type of person that was affected by abortion, but I was a twinless twin in the name of choice, that her abortion made sense of me being born at 3 pounds with a dislocated hip and club feet, and a lifetime of complications, including visiting the Children's Crippled Hospital as a child. And so I realized in that moment that everything I believed about abortion was wrong.
These are the extremes, of course, but they're still happening more than people think they are. And the fact that this is, again, why I just can't be a part of the community at all. I don't care if it's like I'm pro-choice up into this. The only exception I do have is rape and incest, because I've been raped and I couldn't imagine. However, like for everything else up until a few weeks or months, just because it's convenient for you, I can't be a part of the group. I can't be a part of the tribe. I would never be a part of a pro-choice protest, because I just don't want to be a part of that community. I don't like the energy. I don't like the spirit. I don't like the mentality. I don't like the ideology. I like nothing about it. It feels dirty. It feels corrupt. It feels demonic, to say the least. And I'm not even saying it in a religious way. It feels like you're part of something really sick. And this is the other thing the woman was talking about. The other thing that a lot of pro-choicers don't talk about are the abortion survivalists, right? And I'm not talking about people who their parents were thinking about getting an abortion and they didn't, like myself. I'm talking about people who actually survived the actual abortion, where a lot of times there's like a chemical that the mother would take, or they would put into the womb or something like that to dissolve the baby, and that doesn't always work. And so the mother thinks she had the abortion, or the baby has been aborted or dissolved or whatever, or killed, and then she finds out later that the baby survived. But now that baby has to survive with deformities and disabilities and complications that they wouldn't have had. They would have been a perfectly healthy baby without that. Again, so not all abortion, just because it's done in a clinic in a hospital, is okay or safe or in the results that the mother wanted. So that's the other thing that people don't talk about. This woman survived an actual abortion and she had complications with her whole entire life. I truly believe, and I said this before, this has been a generational thing, and there have been millions upon millions upon millions of people who have been brainwashed into being a part of something really dark. And I won't even go into all the other stuff because it just sounds like conspiracy, but a part of something really dark and disturbing. And one day we will evolve past this, and we will move past this, and just like we look at the generations who are okay with the Jewish people being killed or okay with slavery, we will look back and go, how could you have been okay with that? There will be a generation of people that will look back on our generations and go, how are you okay with that? Did you not realize what you were doing? Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm going to close out here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm. I have my travel channel, my other channel, Speak Freely. Links down below, and you guys have an amazing day. Bye!